once again in the heart of America has blood on their hands, fighting to defend your rights so you can maintain a lifestyle that insults this family's existence. Well, where I'm from, we have a special salute. We aim high in the air towards all those pompous asses who spend their days pointing fingers. Like the heartbeat of this country when antagonized you love. You'll be damned if you count me in as part of your generous hypocrisy collecting enemies. Tabloid gossip, queen worthless days. For us to bury you. Selfish agenda, one to hate. This way can tell you about it. I'm in some for something real. Don't respect the words you're speaking. Gone too far. All the way from the east to the west, we got this high society looking down on that very foundation, constantly reminding us that our actions are the cause of all their problems, pointing their fingers in every direction, blaming their own nation for who wins elections. They've never contributed a fucking thing to the country they love to criticize. It's the obscene, ignore the untrue depictions we see. Try and get through. Admitting mistakes can hurt. I'm not the last, but I sure ain't the first. excited. Got this feeling really deep in my soul. Let's get it, I wanna go. Come along, get it on. I'm gonna take my car. Do you like my car? Cause I'm crazy, not too crazy. Do you like it? I wanna race for you. Shall I go now? Yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna step on the gas tonight and be a lover. I'll be so quick as a flash and I'll be your hero. Yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna run as a flash tonight to be the winner. I'm gonna step on the gas and this is the big show. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. And this is the big show.
Catholics are an important part of the American story. America has been strengthened by hardworking Catholics. From New York to California, the Catholic story is truly unique, and it's a great story. From marching for civil rights to educating millions of children, serving the poor, and helping define the pro-life movement, clergy and lay Catholics across the country have made countless contributions to the American success and the American success story. Washington politicians have been hostile to the church. They have been hostile to Catholics. They have been hostile to the members of Catholicism. My administration will stand side by side with the American Catholics to promote the values we all share as Christians and Americans. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. We will make America great again.
All right. How is everyone doing today? Hope good. I hope everyone is doing good. So, I am going to be streaming today about Donald Trump. Me and Leo Pirate are going to be talking about all things Trump. If you didn't know, you can read in the description. So, I have a Google Hangout set up at the moment, and I am waiting for Leo Pirate to join. He has the link. I think he is making himself some tea right now. Oh, there he is. Can you hear me, Leo?
You hear me?
I can hear you, but can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I responded. So Samson too. Yeah, and just make because it could be using my default microphone, but as long as they don't sound really echoey or dumb, we are okay.
Little echoey right there, but I think that's it was pretty good for most of that, so I think we're fine.
All right. And how long has the stream been going on? I was grabbing my tea.
It started 13 minutes ago. I just had those videos I was telling you about. I'm saving that one that I made for the end of the stream. I figured that would be a good outro, just to let people know, like, yeah, I used to think how you might have thought about Trump, but I don't know.
Do you have a link to the stream? Are you gonna? Because I have a friend of mine who I want to link it to.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll send that over.
And we're live right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone, all eyes on us. Oh man.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I need to get the chat open then.
I think we have like 4 people watching at the moment. This is on
all four people watching us, man.
This is on my backup channel, so not quite as many subs here, but that's okay.
Yeah, because they disabled streaming on your other channel. What is that? What is that?
I really couldn't tell you. See, I mentioned this before, but I'd never had any... I had one video ever that got flagged down for being too offensive, but that's it. And all of a sudden, I can't live stream again, so...
Very strange.
Really couldn't tell you what's going on with that. But you now have the link to watch live, and yeah. So, Leo, honestly, for everyone watching, Leo's one of the ones that kind of showed me a lot of the stuff about Trump that I did not know about. And that's why I wanted to have him on for this stream also. Because there's a bunch of stuff that I found that I thought would be good to go over. And it's also just been too long since we did a Days of Lot stream, so I figured this would be a good holdover until we can get one on.
Yeah, for sure, especially because of the stuff that you found. And I was reading scripture earlier today, John chapter 13, and I think it goes perfectly with what you found and what we wanted to talk about today.
Oh, well, then let's start with that. What
Okay,
was the
sure.
verse you found?
So this is in, I want to pull it up really quickly on my computer because I left my Bible in my car. Unbelievable. But
Leo.
this is something when I'm talking with people like Jeff Stinney and stuff, or really skeptics who wonder what authority does the Bible have in establishing any kind of truth. And I think I found the verse. I always wanted to mention this to him, but every time it failed to come to memory. But while I was looking through it, I found this, and this is in John chapter 13, after, the Last Supper. Jesus goes through and he washes the feet of each of his disciples. And when he is doing this, he explains something. He has a very interesting quote afterwards, which kind of establishes the authority that is relevant to this topic at hand. I'm trying to see you. Let's see here. Is it 18 and 19? So it's like 13. Okay, so this is John chapter 13, 18, and 19. This is Jesus saying, I speak not of you all. I know whom I have chosen, but that the scripture may be fulfilled. He that eateth bread with me hath lifted up his heel against me. Now I tell you before it come, that when it is come to pass, ye may believe that I am he. So what he did right there at the Last Supper, he is saying that one of you will betray me. And he says that I'm telling you this so that when they do, you will know that I really am the Son of God.
Right.
So do you see that? It's as if Jesus establishes authority by saying truth before it happens. And when it happens, you can say, that's an example of his authority being established because his prophecy, even a small one like that, is fulfilled. Well, the Bible's full of such things. And that's how God establishes his authority. That's how he reveals himself to his followers. It's not by holding up a pencil and say, God, stop this pencil from dropping onto the floor. It's not by showing party tricks to your atheist friends at parties, okay? This isn't a God of magic tricks, okay? He's a God of truth. And his truth doesn't age. It's immutable. It's non-temporal. It's always true, no matter where you are, no matter when you are. And when you're talking about the stuff that you found more recently, there's a writer that I happen to hold in rather high esteem, Ellen White. She talked about the topic we'll be discussing today in explicit detail more than 100 years ago. But I'll let you get to the stuff you wanted to say.
Well, I think that's a great introduction because, Ellen White, she called out a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. Let me get this tab open. I sent Leo Pirate a very interesting list that I found yesterday. Actually, give me 1 second to find it. Let me pull this screen up so I'm not just shuffling around on my desktop for all of you to watch.
On the chat, finally. I was pulling up the chat, too.
Good. So, there's a very interesting list that I sent Leo yesterday that I think sheds a lot of light into just how far gone the world is today. It's a list. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, here it is. It's a list of, let me pull it up over here. I'm sorry guys, I am unprepared like always for these. list of alumni of Jesuit educational institutions. And it's just a alphabetical list of basically every famous person that graduated from a Jesuit school. Very, very interesting list. A lot of names on here. A lot of names I wasn't expecting to find on here. And some I kind of was expecting. You know, Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, they were both on here. But there's a few that I noticed that kind of stuck out to me. One, I mean, I didn't know this before finding this list, but I'm scrolling to it right now, so give me one moment. Mr. Bill Clinton went to Georgetown University. I'm pretty sure that's like, you know, more public knowledge. A lot of people did know that, but I didn't. Thought that was kind of fascinating. Also, another Clinton sort of thing here. Tim Kaine, the running mate of Hillary Clinton, graduated from Rockhurst High School in Kansas. So, both of the presidential nominees for this last election cycle, as you'll see in just one moment, were Jesuit educated. As you can see here, Donald Trump, billionaire real estate tycoon and TV personality, graduated from Fordham University. Now, I did not know that. I think that's pretty interesting. What about you, Leo?
Well, sorry, I had my mic muted. For a second, but I think, yeah, it goes back to what you're saying, just how pervasive their influence is. It's in politicians, it's actors, it's media moguls, it's really everywhere.
It's everyone.
And it's so crazy because it's so open. And I think that, for me, everyone goes to the quote from Voltaire saying, to find out who controls you, see who you can't criticize, right? I think that I don't necessarily agree with that quote completely. I would go with, see who you get made fun of for criticizing. Because if you even mention this, people just think it's a joke. Like, what? No, there's like this pious religious organization. Oh, they've done so much for charities. They've established so many schools. And we're not on this stream saying that everyone who has gone to a Jesuit university or graduated one is a Jesuit themselves, or even Catholic.
Right.
But
sorry, go ahead.
We're asserting that it is their values are something they brag about. For example, Brett Kavanaugh, he is a Catholic himself, but I don't believe he's a Jesuit. But he brags about being educated from a Jesuit school, saying that the Jesuit values established early in his life are what drives his decision making. And that's the stuff we're talking about here.
I was thinking, like, when we're talking about people that were educated by Jesuits, I think you really could use the word indoctrinated. Not saying, again, that they're all Jesuits or they're even all Catholic, but they had their thoughts shaped by Jesuits. So, it's very, very interesting. There's a lot
I was going to say, I noticed Bully the Anti-Bullies in the chat. We got Sunless Sentinel. I'm just kind of reading the chat, but you were going to say something?
I was just going to mention that there's a lot of names on here that I thought were kind of funny. I'm trying to find... Chris Farley was a Jesuit, or was indoctrinated by Jesuits at least. I can't remember his name, but the lead actor from MASH, that really popular TV show, was... Didn't
you say George Takei was on that
list
as
Takei?
Well?
And here's Kavanaugh. I have him on screen right now. I'm trying to find Farley, just because that one was really funny to me. Yeah, Chris Farley. I'll scroll to K now. Because it's really it's so many people you would never think. Al Roker. Al Roker was educated by Jesuits.
It is amazing how once you get this perspective, it's like you view history with a whole new set of eyes. I've already talked to you about this, right? I remember looking into Henry Ford, right, from Michigan. I just remember thinking, he was a rather upstanding individual. Circulated the protocols of the elders of Zion. So I'm like, oh, this guy's interesting. Do more research into him, and I find out he's a devout Roman Catholic. And at that time, at that point in history, the Roman Catholic Church was explicitly against Zionism.
Yeah.
And it's very strange. It's almost like there are exceptions to this rule. But when you look at history, famous historical figures that were Catholic, you could almost see their political opinions, their worldview, by looking at what the Roman Catholic Church had at that time. Of course, there are exceptions. John F. Kennedy is one who immediately comes to mind. But it changes your perspective completely. Kind of religion is considered a secondary attribute when you're looking at historical figures.
Oh,
but,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, actually, not even back then, even today. Today, it's only used in the political realm, right? And you played that clip already with Trump talking about the Catholic story.
Yes.
You love how he mixed Catholic and Christian. Like, they're interchangeable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The Catholic story, the Christian story, same thing. And
while we were talking just now, guess who I found on this list?
Who?
Voltaire.
I didn't know that. Really?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. He's on screen right now. Also,
dude, that changes everything. He was instrumental in the philosophies that led the French Revolution. Wow. Dude, I know. Well, here's the thing. He was very critical of church authority. And I'm thinking about Blaise Pascal. He was, the founder of probability, right? The father of the mathematical field of probability. He was a genius. He was also Catholic, but he was very critical of the Jesuit order. And some of his letters, I've been meaning to read through them, but I've heard that he was very critical of the Jesuit order. And some of the founding fathers actually exchanged his letters between each other, saying like they were afraid of the Jesuits because of what Pascal had written.
Oh, speaking of, let me see if I can't find that one article I sent you that I thought was just so funny. You know which one I'm talking about? The one about Lincoln? I think it's actually like pretty early in our Discord conversation.
The Jesuits didn't kill Abraham Lincoln.
Let me pull this one up too. Yeah, and there's I wanted to also show that I hope I'm not like we're kind of taking the wind out of the sails of the Jesuit Days of Lot sermon, but I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of stuff we can cover still in that one. But I want to go ahead and show that article as well from American Magazine.
So this weekend you won't be available? Because it's amazing. This weekend I'll be available. I'll also be available next weekend. I could try and make it work next weekend. I need to have it done by then because I want to get this next Days of Lot sermon about Jesus in the Old Testament out of the way. And then we got to talk about what we're doing right now, this sort of a more in-depth look at Catholic history and its relevance to American politics today. Because let's just say there's a huge emphasis on people viewing certain members of the tribe, right? There's a certain tribe that lots of people care about. And don't get me wrong, they have positions of power as well, and they have influence. But they kind of go hand in hand with this organization that we'll be talking about in a future stream.
Yeah.
I'm being very vague, intentionally vague and ominous.
Exactly. I kind of noticed that. So I couldn't find it through, like the Discord link wouldn't pull it up, but I can just search it real quick. So this is a article. They might have taken it down because it just does not seem to want to load. But people on that are watching live can see it on screen. No, the Jesuits didn't kill Abraham Lincoln. From thecatholicherald.com. Thanks, Catholic Herald, for clearing that up for us. Yeah, I guess they either like took down the article or something because it's saying that the site can't be reached. Oh well, we know that it was there. But yeah, exactly. It's very, very ominous. That's a good choice of word because, like you were saying in the beginning, like there's a lot of prophecies laid down by Ellen White, and this was honestly terrifying to me because it's sort of like, imagine if there was and this is, I'm sure you've already kind of had this thought process, Leo, but this is more for people watching. Imagine if you found out that, I don't know, the Muslims had had like a bunch of prophecies of like a certain group that was going to be controlling much of the world and like media and just holding all this influence in the future towards, you know, towards the end of days, you would say. I don't know, whatever it is. And you look around and you realize, oh man, that group is holding a lot of power. They do have a lot of influence. It almost confirms that, yeah, this book is accurate.
And you can do it with excuse me, clearing my throat. You can do it just with examples within the pages of the Bible, because when you try and do the stuff like we do today, where you take verses from scripture and apply it to the absolute state of things, people might say that's just confirmation bias. That's just your interpretation of things. But when you compare scripture with scripture, just within the pages of the Bible, and you understand that the Bible is composed of dozens of different authors from different time periods, different languages, different generations, that establishes its authority undeniably.
Exactly.
But the thing is, yeah, if what happens is once you understand that truth, then the things that are happening right now also start to gain credibility. And the preciseness of it is what really disturbs me. And I was saying, we got to do another stream on Catholicism, because I did one on BYR, but we haven't quite done a Days of Lot sermon just about the Catholic Church, because trust me, there are way more verses than the Book of Revelation. If you think the Book of Revelation is the only place where the Catholic Church is discussed, that's the tip of the iceberg, right? Catholicism in my Bible, it's more likely than you think.
Oh man, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that one. I've been trying to explain to a few people that I actually work with, like, some of my ideas, because now that we're getting close to the midterms, they're all asking me if I'm going to be voting Republican in the midterms, if I'm going to, you know, help out the cause, so to speak. I'm trying to politely explain, no, I don't think I am. I don't think it really matters so much, but it's kind of difficult convincing people that are stuck in the left-right paradigm that there's this whole other layer that they need to be looking at things from. But for some of the people...
Yeah, here's the thing. All right, so you have a lot of... do you have a lot of people still stuck in the bipartisan paradigm?
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people that watch, like, BYR and people that might still be subbed to my channel are stuck in the left-right paradigm, and it's kind of odd to me. So I thought this stream might be useful, more useful than I imagined a few months or weeks ago.
So 1 second. Sorry, I'm just I brought up some of the evidence you sent me to a Catholic friend of mine, and we're just going back and forth.
Well, while you're doing that, I found this link. So this is from America, the Jesuit Review magazine.org. And I found this article very, very eye-opening. Why do Catholics make up a majority of the Supreme Court? I know you remember this article, Leo. And all we're going to be doing is reading the first paragraph. This is all you really need to see for this. There are 9 justices on the Supreme Court, and 4 of them, Chief Justice John G. Roberts, Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, and Sonia Sotomayor, are practicing Catholics, as is retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy. Conservative Neil Gorsuch was raised Catholic but reportedly attends an Episcopal church. Okay. And the other justices on the bench, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Stephen Breyer, and Alina Kagan, are Jewish. Now, yeah, that really makes you think. So, all of the Supreme Court justices are either Catholic or Jewish. How did that happen? Huh? That's kind of interesting, isn't it, Leo?
Yeah, that's a historical quip. Like, you could see the connection between the two. We already did a stream on the Islamic Catholic connection. I'm just really worried about doing a stream on the Pharisee Catholic connection.
Yeah,
especially because that one's a little bit less, you know. Oh my god. The feast. So I'm sorry. I'm like trying to do the stream and chat with this guy at the same time, but he's trying to argue right now that there's no reason to keep the seventh day because of the oldest argument in the book saying, the apostle Paul, don't judge any man for the Sabbaths or new moons, new moon Sabbaths that they keep. And I'm trying to explain to him that's the feasts. That's in the Old Testament. There's a feast dedicated on the new moon.
I see.
So
Bully
it's here.
the
Sorry,
anti-Billy
talking
in the chat
about
is saying that this
on
is just a
stream.
coincidence. He doesn't know what I'm on about. Bully, I I love
As
you, Bully.
part of the Levitical priesthood, which Jesus ended. So, yeah, but no, but that's Jesus did not end the Ten Commandments.
Let me find this while you're doing that. There is another smaller point about this that I wanted to bring up as well, because I know I brought up the Neil Gorsuch connection and the Brett Kavanaugh connection, but I believe that's how you spell her name. Okay, so this is just from Newsweek. Who is Amy Coney Barrett, Supreme Court shortlist candidate? Oh, yeah. And Notre Dame law professor met with Trump. This lady was, I think she was at like the top of the shortlist of like potential Supreme Court nominees before Kavanaugh was decided on this last go around. And like it showed in that thing, she went to Notre Dame. She'd be another Jesuit-educated Supreme Court justice that we may get when Ginsburg retires or kicks the bucket or whatever happens. So that would be 3 for 3. Everyone keeping track of that? 3 for 3 Jesuit-educated Supreme Court justices given to us by Donald Trump, the God Emperor, as he's known. Very fascinating.
God
stuff.
Emperor. Yeah, that stuff always really bothered me.
Oh yeah, that honestly it seemed a little bit much to me, but I liked it a little bit more than you probably did. I wasn't nearly as religious as I was a few months ago as I am now. I called myself a Christian, but I didn't take it all that seriously.
Yeah, nominal Christianity. I mean, I'd say like 5 years ago or so, I wasn't nearly. This is high energy Christianity. How do you like that?
High energy.
High energy before low energy. Kind of just going about saying, yeah, I'm a Christian. Jesus died for my sins, so I could do whatever I want. Yeah, like it's the saddest thing, because how Christless of a life is your testimony against Satan, which, by the way, that's what all of this is. Our lives are being used as evidence against Satan to prove to him that it is possible to keep the law, and those that keep the law and are obedient to God, great things can come of it. Because I'm sure before Adam and Eve were even made in the heavenly council, Satan, or Lucifer, gave this railing accusation that God's law was a corrupt government, that he was a tyrant, this overbearing tyrant. The 10 Commandments were like these ways to restrict the will of his creation. But a true Christian life is a direct testimony against that.
Yeah, because one of the things I believe it was in The Great Controversy, where it's describing just the, I guess, nature of Lucifer. Basically they called him like a libertarian, the first libertarian, where he's just like all about freedom of the individual and all this sort of stuff. And it really makes a lot of sense, because when you think about like just libertarian politics and how they seem really appealing, but at the same time no one ever takes them seriously. it's just it seems like this great ideal to strive for to a lot of people, but they don't think it could ever work. I think that's just that alone is kind of fascinating. That Lucifer was the spirit of liberation, and
well, it's funny. That's the image he would love to have, the spirit of liberation, the spirit of rebellion, because he believed that under God's rule, that we were all just these slaves, these automata who just followed exactly what God said, and that's it. But that's not at all what's true. In fact, as Jesus explained, it's the exact opposite. The whole world is upside down. For where there is the spirit of the Lord, there is liberty. Mm. And when you stray from the law and you start doing whatever you want, you're actually a slave to sin. Isn't that funny how that works out? It's the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. But he wants to be portrayed as the rebellion, right? The rebel, the one fighting against the oppressive government of God, when in reality, God created free will. So he wants you to be free. He doesn't want you to be a slave to these traps, these snares that Satan has set up all around this fallen world.
Yeah, I actually showed one of my friends the quote in Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma about Lucifer and how he's like the spirit of liberation and free will and all this sort of stuff.
How backwards.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane.
Well, that's what Gnosticism is at its core. It's just the exact opposite of Scripture. God is the bad guy. Lucifer is the good guy. That's, if you want to know the essence of Gnosticism, that's it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a very I don't know. It's almost seems like people want to believe it because it's just edgy, you know? Like, oh yeah, Satan's the good guy. I want to believe that because I'm just be out there.
That's why in my Two Witnesses video, I had that old Shriner, that old guy saying, "Oh, how could you say anything bad about Lucifer? He's pure, holy, virtuous, and stuff." That sent a chill down my spine the first time I saw that clip, because I'm like, this dude is in his 70s, late 60s. And what is he saying this stuff? It's like an edgy Satanist teenager, and he's old, and he has a Shriner cap, the highest honor of Masonry. I'm like,
so
what?
Do you remember how I told you that my mom's dad, my grandpa, was a Shriner?
Yeah, you had mentioned that to me.
I showed her that clip and she freaked out about it. She just like she did not want to accept it.
It's just creepy.
Because even if he's
saying, even if he said it ironically, like just joking, why? The dude is old. Like, he came from a time in America where, as we talk about so often, the 30s and the 40s, they were so biblical. You could talk to any random person. What do you think about the book of Jonah and stuff? And they would have an opinion or be able to talk about it, at least hold a conversation about it. Now today, people are so biblically illiterate. They have like this pop Christianity in their mind. And they're like, oh yeah, isn't that Jesus? He was like that really nice guy and he's okay with me doing whatever I want. Like, that's it.
Oh yeah, Jesus was just a hippie that got crucified. That's all it was.
Can you imagine if that same Shriner said the things that he did at that time? How would people react? But he grew up during that time. And in his elderly age, saying something like that, very strange, very weird. That's why I used that clip.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly forgot that you had used that clip in one of your videos, and I just had remembered the clip on its own. That's what I showed my mom. But yeah, it's a great clip to use in your Two Witnesses video.
But it's more importantly for people who are Masons, they could see he was holding the Shriner cap.
Oh yeah, now, that's the part that freaked my mom out, because she like I said, her dad was a Shriner. She knew what that cap was. So now, seeing this guy holding it walk back into the temple after saying what he just said was just she did not want to accept it.
Now you could argue that he wasn't wearing the cap. And here's the thing is with Shriners, when they're wearing the cap, it's like you only do good things. When you're not wearing the cap, when you take it off, then you could be a little naughty. You can go a little crazy, act like your real self. And that's even more disturbing, as he wasn't wearing the cap when he said it. He was holding it at his side.
Yeah. I didn't know that little rule, I guess. But yeah, that's very interesting.
But it's, again, you show that kind of stuff. I have a friend who's a Mason online, and he just said he's joking. That was his response. It's like, dude, I don't know why you're freaking out. He's obviously joking. It's just a joke.
I'm reading.
And I'm like, why?
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just trying to answer him. Like, why? Why would he, like, what motive would this late 60-year-old, 70-year-old man have to say something so specific? So
multiple times. He repeated it multiple times.
Right. And you said you compared it to like an edgy teenager who's a Satanist, right? Like, very strange, right?
Yeah. So I'm reading the chat right now. JC wanted to know, do you have anything on Norman Peele, Baron? I don't, but Leo, do you know who that is? Do you have anything on Norman Peele?
I do not. Why? Okay. Why did they ask in particular?
I'm not sure. The most recent message says ancient Eastern mysteries all through their books. I'm guessing they're talking about Shriners now. They also refer to him as the Morning Star and Azazel. Not sure if I got this, but yeah.
Well, yeah, the Morning Star. That's because, excuse me, Lucifer itself is a Latin derivation of what is written in Isaiah, where it says, "Oh Lucifer, how art thou fallen," right? And Lucifer itself is the name that is given to the accuser, or Satan. Satan is a title. And people like to, that's one of the things people like Styx Hexenhammer will always bring up. They say, oh, did you know Satan was called the Morning Star? And did you know in Revelation, Jesus is called the Bright and Morning Star? Oh, take that. So did you know Jesus is actually Lucifer? Isn't that a big thing? Isn't your mind blown right now?
Big if true.
They're basically the same. That's pretty crazy. Clearly, Styx Hexenhammer knows the Bible better than all the theologians, all the translators of the Bible and stuff. And they went away with it. Yeah, Lucifer and Jesus, they're the same thing. They all miss that. But these Gnostic YouTubers, they got it all figured out. They have nothing but contempt for Christianity, but they know it. They know the truth.
What's weird to me is Styx Hexenhammer actually used to be like a fundamentalist Christian.
Yeah, I heard, and he wanted a more spiritual growth, so he looked into Satanism, and he realized that he recognized the comic opera for what it is, especially under Anton LaVey. The guy was a businessman, and that's like the first degree, if you will, of Satanism, is it's a big comic opera, right? They embrace atheism wholesale, and they make this big show out of worshiping Satan without actually believing in Satan. If you think it ends there, you'll just be misinformed. It goes deeper. There are actual satanic cults who go beyond the comic opera. They take worshiping Satan very seriously. And here's how the levels go. The first one is you're just introduced, you dip your toes in atheism, right? You're like, oh, atheism, right? I'm being so edgy, so cool. Then the next level, you're like, okay, maybe Lucifer is real, but like he can give me all these things, so this is good. And the final level is Lucifer and God are real, and Lucifer is actually going to beat God. And now I'm on the right side.
Yeah, it's the what's it called? Like the demiurge? I'm not.
That's it. The demiurge is the term that's used by general Gnosticism to describe the creator of the material plane.
Yeah, it's like this unconscious force that just generated everything. But, if left up to his own devices, it would just destroy everything. So therefore, we need this intelligence, this light to come guide us.
And yeah, if you think about it, the Gnostic message of the Garden of Eden, their perspective is that Adam and Eve are these dumb automata, right? They were just walking around doing whatever God wills. And once they ate of the fruit of the tree of knowledge, and by the way, they love to truncate that title. Because Baron, can you tell me the full title of that tree? The fruit of the tree of knowledge of what?
Good and evil.
Ah, funny how they forget that part. They kind of just truncate that part, and they say they ate of the fruit of the tree of knowledge, and then they got smart. Whoa, that's what they believe. They believe that Adam and Eve were these dumb automata. They ate of the fruit, and then their eyes were opened, and they got free will. And then they realize, oh no, we're actually trapped in this garden from this evil, vindictive tyrant who's trying to force our will. When in reality, they had free will before because they chose. Remember, they chose to eat of that fruit.
Exactly.
So, but you can't explain that to Gnostics. They'll say, oh well, they just they were like destined to do that or something. Like it falls apart when you think about it for more than 5 seconds, but I love it. I've talked to Gnostics in chat before, and I've never met a class of people who are more convinced that they know the Bible better than you, even more than atheists. They know it. They know the truth, and that's what I find just really annoying.
So we got an answer from JC, and I think this is very interesting. Norman Peale is Trump's pastor, and he's also a 33rd degree Mason.
Who?
Norman Peale, that person JC was asking me if I had anything on.
So who? Let me look him up really quickly.
You know what I should honestly do? I should pull back up that one list I was showing earlier. I'm stupid and closed it out, so give me a second here. And see if he is on this list of Jesuit institutional alumni. Norman Peale. Something is telling me he probably is, but he might not be famous enough because it's a list of like notable alumni. But
Donald Trump attended Peale's church while growing up.
That is very interesting.
So let's see here. He's the author of the best-selling book, The Power of Positive Thinking. He served as a pastor for a New York church, leading the Reformed Church in America. Very interesting. So it's a Protestant denomination. Presbyterian. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. That's a big think. And you're saying that he was a 33rd degree Freemason?
That's what JC has said in the chat here. Sunless Sentinel, Trump has a pastor? The guy must not pay attention. He can't even read Bible verses correctly. Yeah, what was it? 2 Corinthians? Was that the way he said it? When he was saying one of his favorite Bible verses. It's in 2 Corinthians.
That sounds pretty genuine.
Oh yeah.
How do I do, fellow channers? Like, it's one of those things you can kind of immediately tell, like, oh, okay. It's a slip up. Like when people type V with an uppercase V when they put it between the slashes, you don't do that. Never uppercase. Don't do that.
Even I know that, and I'm not a board user.
But I didn't know that. I gotta see the clip where he says first 2 Corinthians.
Oh, let me see if I can pull that up real quick, because that would be funny to play on here. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, so Sunless Sentinel in chat is saying a branch broke off. So going back to the Church of Satan, a branch broke off the Church of Satan very early. They're called the followers of Set. They believe it all. Magic, the supernatural, Satan, all of it. I've spoken with one of their members. Yeah, actually, I was reading a little bit into that. It was led by Michael Aquino, who some believe may have had a part in devising some of what the U.S. government or the U.S. Navy has in its intelligence. I got to look it up. Is he in the Navy? Michael Aquino. But he's the founder of the Temple of Set, the Order of the Temple of Set. Aquinopedia. He appeared on several talk shows to defend Satanism. Michael Ray Aquino, former intelligence officer. Okay. That's it. So yeah, it's very strange. The guy was a former intelligence officer. The guy has direct ties to the U.S. government, and he's the founder of the Temple of Set. Something to think about.
Of course.
Food for thought.
Yeah. So
I'm sure we have great people in office in the government.
I'm sure they're just the best people for the job that we could possibly find. I'm sure our democracy is working as intended. So I found this clip of Trump saying 2 Corinthians. So I'll send it to you on Discord. Let me just get the link copied, but I'll go ahead and play it now for the chat. So it's about 3 minutes long, but I'll stop it once it plays the quote. I can't imagine it's like at the very end. So you just give me 1 second here.
You long-form public affairs programming from the nation's capital and are a public service of your television provider. C-SPAN, created by cable.
And we're going to protect Christianity. And I can say that. I don't have to be politically correct or...
Oh, we're going to protect Christianity. Okay.
You know? And I asked Jerry and I asked some of the folks, because I hear this is a major theme right here, but 2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 3:17. That's the whole ball game.
Okay.
Where the Spirit of the Lord right? Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is
So,
liberty. And here there is liberty.
Is the clip still playing? Because I don't have the stream open.
Yeah, well, he already said. I was just gonna let him read the full quote, but it's like, let me send you the link on Discord now so you can watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 Corinthians. This is the whole ball game, isn't it?
I'm trying to think about what was it? Yeah, the way the stream started. You played that clip of Donald Trump's message to Catholics. It was something he said that I found particularly interesting. He said how this administration has been oppressive to Catholics. What did he mean by that?
Exactly.
Oppressive
what
to
did he
Catholics.
mean by that?
Didn't before he came into office, we had 5 Roman Catholic Supreme Court justices?
That's right.
And now we have 6 with Kavanaugh?
That's right.
Oh, but so oppressive. Oh, the Catholic story is one of helping with social justice, helping with education. They're so important. And yeah, American history certainly has no animosity towards Catholicism whatsoever. Right? You can't find that. I mean, it's really amazing.
You can't really find it anymore.
It's so scary. Like seeing those letters from Abraham Lincoln saying that the reason why so many of America's best young men, their blood is spilled on the soil is because of the Church of Rome. Yeah. It's like, what? What are you talking about?
I went and found that quote when I was talking to, again, one of my coworkers, and explaining, like, yeah, in Kavanaugh's nomination or his acceptance speech, he mentions his connection to the Jesuits. He's making it known. And who were the Jesuits? Oh, they were just people that Abraham Lincoln thought he was more at war against than the South. That's puts my mind at ease.
Yeah, and what is it? There's actually a really good quote from Abraham Lincoln I'd like to read. It's kind of blurry on my phone, so excuse me if I'm reading it rather slow. I found this quote from watching that Seventh-day Adventist pastor that we opened the 2 Babylon stream with. The guy is amazing. He finds the craziest stuff. But this is a quote from Abraham Lincoln in a letter he sent to a Roman Catholic priest, Chiniquy, who he had defended. He had defended him in a case. But anyway, this is what he says. Is it not an absurdity to give to a man a thing which he is sworn to hate, curse, and destroy? And does not the Church of Rome curse, hate, and destroy liberty of conscience wherever she can do it safely? I cannot give liberty of conscience to the Pope and to his followers, the Papists, so long as they tell me through all their councils, theologians, and canon law that their conscience orders them to burn my wife, strangle my children, and cut my throat when they find their opportunity. That's Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
So, there's no historical animosity towards Catholicism in the United States. Very strange. I don't know. You don't see that in history textbooks. You don't really find that anywhere. And it seems as though it's kind of been pruned from history textbooks from any perspective. In fact, if you even mention the Civil War had anything to do with religion, people will just gawk at you, dumbfounded. Saying like, isn't it just slavery? What?
Exactly.
So, but yeah, it's kind of amazing.
So I have pulled up right now on the stream the clip of Trump waving the LGBT flag and talking about, this video is from Time Magazine's YouTube channel, and it's everything President Trump has said about the LGBTQ community, including fighting for them. That was something I wanted to bring up about Kavanaugh. I have family members who are stuck on the TV. They watch Talmud Vision, and they were telling me, "Oh, Kavanaugh, he's so traditional, so conservative. And like, do you think he's gonna undo Roe v. Wade? Do you think he's gonna undo gay marriage?" No. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you can see 2020. Like, you're clear. No, absolutely not. I can't believe that. That's what the media does, though. They try and frame it like this big controversy over nothing. Kavanaugh is going to go right along, business as usual. Jesus said when he returns, it will be as it was in the days of Lot. Yeah. You really think a Roman Catholic, Jesuit-educated Supreme Court justice is going to be fighting against such legislation? Please. Exactly. So we had talked before about like what the goal of Trump is, and you had said something about like discrediting the right wing and making it so that there's this like eternal boogeyman that they can put stuff on, like, oh, Trump and the alt-right, these people, we got to do something about them.
Well, I mean, Trump, it's not even about discrediting the right wing. He was a Democrat.
Yeah.
He was a lifelong Democrat from New York. Like, I don't know how people kind of forget that. And then he just ran Republican. Everyone's like, oh, wow, amazing. And then now it's the left wing that's attacking him. The analogy I like to use is like marching forward with each foot being a part of the party, like the left and the right. Now, the left foot always marches forward first, and then the right foot follows along. In 10 years from now, we're going to hear Republicans saying, oh, it's the Democrats who are the real pedophobes.
Exactly. This is what I'm getting at. Like, one of the biggest things that I see Trump doing that I hate is making the right wing not even remotely conservative anymore. Like, he's the first Republican that has, like, he was more pro-gay earlier than Hillary Clinton was. And he's the fascist. Okay. Okay, guys, sure. People talk about, like, oh, what if conservatives actually conserved? Not really that much of anything. Well, you know, at least when you talk to older conservatives, like my dad, he's very, at least in some of the things he believes.
He's a traditionalist, but he still supports Trump, right?
Yeah.
And that
Trump has made him go along with a bunch of stuff that he wouldn't have otherwise.
Because he has no choice, right? It's the only chance we have.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you, Baron, before the election, I traveled to sort of the heart of the country just to visit. Yeah, I shouldn't go into, but anyway, I visit the heart of this country, and I have met some of Middle America, just some of regular people, and it's really depressing. Like, it's the saddest thing I've seen. They just need someone to believe in, and they wanted Trump. And if you then tell him, no, Trump is just business as usual, he's owned by Jews, he's not really conservative, he's just going right along with it, it would mean that everything that led up to it was a lie.
Yeah.
That's why they cannot do that.
It's crushing
Too
to
much.
realize.
Too much to realize, so let me just stick into this bipartisan paradigm that's being spouted by the news. And by the way, isn't it so funny to see him own the libs?
That's the other thing. It actually is fun to be on the team. When Trump actually got elected, the first month or so was honestly some of the most fun I've ever had online. Just posting offensive shit and finding like all these funny videos that people were making. Like, it honestly was fun. And that's
so Pleiadian Advocate's calling us out in the chat. So apparently you guys need more time to prepare for another Days of Lot stream. Yet you guys find time to kvetch about Trump. Sad. I'll tell you right now, buddy. We want to do it only on Sabbath. I think we could probably do a Days of Lot sermon not on Sabbath, but yeah, we generally want to do it on the Sabbath. And I haven't had the slides done. And this stream is me taking a break because I had a midterm today, and it was an experience.
Oh yeah, I meant to ask, how did it go?
It went. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, kind of how work went for me today. It definitely went. It was a thing.
It was an experience. Yeah, it was. I was alive during it. And it happened.
Yeah.
Being as vague as possible.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, Sunless Sentinel. We'll be getting back to, or no, I'm Pleiadian Advocate. We'll be getting back to them soon. You said you can't do one this weekend, you said you could do one this weekend, but I'll be out of town.
Yes.
Next weekend, I should be good too.
Okay. Yeah, because I want the slides. I want to keep it under 2 hours.
So
and part of why it's taking me so long is I'm actually researching new things. I've already said I've exhausted a lot of the examples of Jesus in the Old Testament, telling you and on various streams. I want it to be like new stuff. And there is so many examples. Like, the stream we'll be doing is in no way an exhaustive list of all the references to Jesus in the Old Testament.
Yeah, I've looked through some just in my own time and some of the ones that you've sent me. There's so many. So many. So
And
I have
yeah.
this on screen now. This was something that you had showed me just while we're on the subject of Trump. I think I'm probably going to close the stream up pretty soon here, maybe in the next like 15, 20 minutes. But I forgot about this. I was going to talk about this earlier. This was the commutation that you sent me. The first person whose sentence Trump commuted, Shalom Rubishkin. Huh. December 20th, 2017. 27-year prison term, 5 years of supervised release, and ordered to pay $27 million.
Oh, but that's not the best part, Baron. He was the owner of a meat packing factory that hired illegal immigrants, including children.
Of course.
Now,
Of
you've seen
course.
the conditions of meat packing factories or meat processing factories. You've seen
yes.
how it's like. Do you think that's a place for a child
No.
to be in?
No, I do
And
not.
illegal immigrants. And that's who Trump let off. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, really hard on those business owners, right? Outsourcing their labor, hiring illegal immigrants. That is quintessential Trump.
Quintessential Trumpian.
I saw that and I couldn't believe that it was Nick Fuentes who was reporting on it.
Oh, but don't
you know
worry,
that?
guys. He just has to...
No, Fuentes is, I got to tell you, I still hope someday I'll be able to talk to Fuentes again because I think he's a character. I think he's a great guy. He's really smart, and I was listening to America First when he first broke that story, and I just was thinking, how does this kid know about this? Like, why is he reporting? This is incredible, amazing.
One of his I guess followers on Twitter was actually where I found out about the Kavanaugh being Jesuit educated thing.
Oh, because he was bragging about it. He was flaunting it, no doubt.
Oh, he had this post on Twitter saying the future is Catholic and there's nothing you can do about it. And I just chuckled like, you might be right. You might actually be right, Nick. But
well, that's the thing I wanted to say. I was talking to my Catholic friend about how it's like Adventism is so unique because it explicitly calls out the control of Catholicism in the United States. And, I'm not going to tell everyone, oh, you should read all of The Great Controversy. It's a massive book. You should, but I wouldn't expect anyone to, especially with today's attention spans. Yeah. But if you just want one chapter, and there's an audiobook on YouTube, you can search by chapter. Search chapter 35, Liberty of Conscience Threatened, from The Great Controversy, written more than 100 years ago by Ellen White. Read that or listen to it and just look at how things are right now and see if anything makes you go, see if you have a big think. You stroke your chin and go, that's interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Sunless Sentinel in chat. The future is Catholic. Well, we are getting a shit ton of Mexicans, so.
Yup. I made that connection earlier because she's not lying. Like the spirit of prophecy or the spirit of truth, as it's described in Revelation, speaks just truth. Doesn't matter when. And when you think of the future being Catholic, it's not just in the government. The demographics of this country, we have so many coming from South America. Mexico. Ooh, what is that? What's their religion?
What is their religion indeed?
But no one talks about that. Instead, everyone's so obsessed with demographics. Like, oh, they're not white.
And
they're not white.
Exactly. Something I was thinking of after we did the Islam Connection stream, what's the religion of everyone flooding into Europe right now? Well, they're mostly Muslim, right?
Yeah. Damn. I didn't make that connection. So if the Catholic connection is also tied to Islam, and Pope Francis is going around making so many amends.
We need to build bridges, not walls.
Yeah. Really makes you think. That's a big think right there, right?
Yeah. So, I don't know. Anything else about Trump that you can think of? Like, I know you said you voted for him, right? I know I did, and I've been open about that, but
I know that you're wearing your MAGA hat, so I think I'm fully aware of that. When are you going to change that avatar?
Well, it's mostly just ironic right now, so I don't know.
Oh,
I
you're
think,
just ironic?
yeah,
Okay.
it started off being pretty serious. I was the video I'm gonna close on was one of my I think it was my third video I ever put up on YouTube, on this channel at least, and it's pretty cringy. I'm kind of embarrassed by it. That's why I deleted it off my channel. I actually re-uploaded it just so I could play it on this stream, but it's called "Why I Support Donald Trump," and it's pretty bad. It's pretty awful, but yeah, at this point the avatar is kind of ironic. Pleading Advocate thinks I should keep it. I think I might.
I mean, that was the faces of everyone when he won, right?
Yeah,
Ash
I mean-
Ketchum. It's like a single tear rolling down. We're gonna make America great again. Who cares, right? About what spiritually made America great. Let's just focus on electing the face of corporatism, and that'll fix everything, right? If we just fix our economic policy, if we get the GDP right, oh yeah, then we'll be just as good as we were, you know, 70 years ago. Who cares about what they were religiously or spiritually back then?
Literally, I thought if we got the like GDP up and we got the Mexicans out and we got the demographics back to a manageable level, then we should be good, right? Doesn't
Isn't it
matter.
funny
Doesn't
how
matter that we have
materialistic-
9-year-old drag queens or anything like that. That's just gonna go away once we get somehow.
It's funny because all those attributes you just mentioned there are so materialistic.
Yeah.
Right? The race demographics, the economy, the GDP, all of these things are material things you can hold, touch. Spiritually speaking, no one cares.
Yeah.
And if we're going to talk about this country being a Christian nation, I think I already read you that quote from Frederick Douglass, but you know what I'm talking about. This country is not a Christian nation. It's like not in the slightest.
My GDP, yeah. My dad brought up that we have 4% economic growth, or over 4% economic growth. Last time I tried to convince him to maybe not donate money to Trump, maybe keep that, maybe don't waste it giving it to people that don't actually have your best interest in heart. But it's a very tough illusion to see through when you've spent, I don't even know how much money he's given the Republican Party, and I don't want to know. But when you're that deeply invested into something, you don't want to see the truth about it.
Well, pleading advocates saying beggars can't be choosers in the current state of politics, unfortunately, then don't choose.
Yeah.
Don't partake in a corrupt system.
Exactly.
Like, don't compromise with evil. Why bother? Because when you partake in it, then you pick sides, and then you fall into the Hegelian dialectic.
What's it called, Leo? The lesser of two what? What is it?
Oh yeah, lesser of two evils. Interesting. Yeah. So it's still evil, isn't it?
Yeah. It would kind of have to be. Yeah.
But
I don't
think
know.
I want to end with this quote from Frederick Douglass. I read it to you, but I don't think the chat has heard it. This. So yeah, Frederick Douglass. He was a Sabbath keeper, a slave who had escaped from Maryland and traveled to upstate New York and helped establish the abolitionist movement, especially with his writings. But this is his quote on this country being Christian. I love the pure, peaceable, and impartial Christianity of Christ. I therefore hate the corrupt, slaveholding, women whipping, cradle plundering, partial, and hypocritical Christianity of this land. Indeed, I can see no reason, but the most deceitful one, for calling the religion of this land Christianity. I look upon it as the climax of all misnomers, the boldest of all frauds, and the grossest of all libels.
Man, people just had a way with words back then.
Yeah, right?
You'll never hear something written from this time period that sounds even remotely like that.
The grossest of all libels. It's like you have to use the most hyperbolic language, but still use an extensive vocabulary to describe it.
Yeah, as opposed to today, this shit is whack, yo.
Yeah, it's like rewriting that today. Dude, you have to have subtitles for the old English.
Exactly.
It's like Frederick Douglass didn't like Christianity, America's Christianity at the time. That's like what the subtitles say, the YouTube subtitles.
Yeah. Well, I actually have got to go get some food here in just a little bit. But Leo, I really appreciate you coming on to my backup channel's live stream that has right now 8 people watching it. I don't know how you're gonna get your clout levels up, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
This might blow your mind, but it's like clout. It's not the most important thing for me. Now, people like Nick Fuentes, on the other hand, I know for people like Nick Fuentes, the only way you could measure a human worth, like how many subscribers someone has, or how many Patreon bucks they're getting. Yeah, that's all that matters. How many views? But believe it or not, Baron, there's more to people than that.
I have trouble believing this, Leo. Well, I'm gonna play this little video that I made. I think it's like 9 minutes long, something like that. It's pretty bad. Don't judge me, guys. Don't judge me too harshly. Again, this was 8 months ago. I hope this stream has shown you that I've changed. I'm no longer based Magapede, but you know, I think Plea and Advocate and Sunless Sentinel, you guys both still are would consider yourself like Trump supporters, right? So, like, I don't want to like you guys thinking I'm just shitting on you. I really do I used to think exactly how you guys might still. So, I don't know. I'm just gonna close out with this, and I hope you all have a good one. Again, thanks, Leo. All
right, see you later.
Peace.
Peace.
Politicians, no matter what they want to do, there's way more of us than there are of them. So a good example of this, right, is during the campaign when Trump was doing far better than anyone, including myself, expected him to do. What did the RNC do? What were the Republican establishment's response to this? They kept floating out the idea of changing the rules. Right before the RNC to get Trump out of there and get another nominee in. And believe me, I promise you, if they thought they could get away with it without there being a huge uprising and without it destroying the party, they would have done it. They absolutely would have done it. They didn't want this guy in at all. And you can still see by the way, he's treated by the media, by the many of the Republican establishment, by the deep state. You can still see they want this guy out, okay? But what checks them is to some degree the will of the people. I've used the example before, but I said there could be a dictator in some country who's just a complete dictator, and if there's, 500,000 furious people with torches outside his door saying, "We demand policy X or we will drag you through the streets and kill you," it's very likely that dictator's going to go, "Hey, you know what? I thought about it, and I've decided to enact policy X." Because what's he going to do? Now, this is an interesting dynamic that always exists between the people and the government. And the government is very, very highly incentivized to make sure that you don't really become aware of this, that you don't become aware of how much power the people actually have. Of course, if it's just one individual or two individuals, the government has total power over you. But man, if you got numbers, they are powerless, okay? This is going back to what I was saying at the beginning of the episode. This is why it's so fucking important that we get those numbers. We have to get those numbers. So this dynamic exists. And let me tell you, this was something that Trump was an absolute master of understanding. Trump was a master of understanding. When they started floating out the idea that they would change the rules right before the Republican National Convention, the idea was before they nominated Trump, they could change the rules, and they have complete freedom to do that. They can change the rules at any time. I forget what the number is. It's like 1,270 delegates or something like that you need, and they can just come out and go, no, you know what? You need 1,500 delegates. They can just change it to whatever you need, and then go, oh, sorry, Trump didn't make it. So we'll just choose some other nominee. They could do that legally, and it's within the completely fucking corrupt rules to do that. So when they floated out this idea that they were going to change the rules and get a nominee, what did Trump do? What did Trump say? He said, there'll be riots in the streets. See, he knew exactly what the fuck he was doing. This is something Trump had a real, I don't know if it's on a gut level or he's truly like intellectualized it, but Trump had a real understanding of this dynamic. And he scared the shit out of them. And you know what? I think he was right. What Trump did, they were the tough guys. Jeb Bush supporters were a bunch of fucking pussies. Like these dorks these neocon dorks who are a bunch of fucking chicken hawks. So what Trump was able to do was this. Everybody, Black Lives Matter and Hillary Clinton, who's trying to pander to these fucking useful idiots. And again, as I said earlier, Hillary Clinton doesn't give a fuck about any of those people. She doesn't believe any of what they're saying, but she knows where her fucking votes are, okay? How the fuck is Hillary Clinton gonna beat Bernie Sanders if she doesn't have the black vote? How's she gonna fucking win at the general if she doesn't have the black vote, right? So she's got to pander to them. She's got to pander to all these people on the left. And this is where the genius in Trump was, is that he saw a fucking opening there. He saw a big fat opening. And so Trump goes, all the cops are treating you terrible. You're the best people in the country. We're going to bring back stop and frisk. Remember all that shit? Oh, you know when they put them in the car and they push their head down, slam their head into the car. All this shit, right? So now Trump's got all the tough guys on his side. He's all hardcore with the gun rights shit. He's every shooting. He's like, we should have more guns there. So he's got all the tough people with guns. Now he's got the fucking cops on his side. And then you know what he starts doing? He starts praising the military. He starts praising the military and putting generals all around them and telling them that he's going to untie their hands. And he's going to turn it over to them. And he's going to let them do what they want. And this is how he fucking checkmated the whole thing. This is how he checkmated the deep state, the media, the Democrat and Republican establishment by this dynamic. They went, holy fucking shit. Trump's got all the tough people in this country, and we've been courting a bunch of pussies. If it actually comes down to it, what are our pussies gonna do to their tough guys? Nothing. And I'll tell you, right, these guys, all the people in the establishment, what's their big fear, man? What's their big fear? They're making money fucking hand over fist. They've got all the laws on their side. They've got the fucking banks on their side. They've got all the rules stacked in their favor. But what they're fucking terrified of, right? The big fear is that the people could finally wake up and take them out by force. And Trump has been playing this card. Now, that's, to me, a big part of the story of this election. So what's going on right now with this Mueller investigation is this, right? They've got nothing. They've got fucking nothing. They got one guy lying to the FBI, and one lower level guy lying to the FBI too, right? Because the FBI grills you for fucking 60 hours, and eventually you're gonna fucking say something that isn't right, okay? So maybe I'm wrong, maybe some more evidence will come out, but I don't fucking think so, because there's nothing there. There's no collusion with Russia. Oh, and by the way, collusion isn't a fucking crime. So I don't know what it is that they think they could get him on, but there's nothing. But what they're doing is constantly dipping their finger into this pool of public sentiment. And if they can peel off enough of these people where they don't think this is a threat anymore, they're going to move to impeach Trump. Because Trump is far from a great president. He's not doing anything of real substance. It's not that Trump's a great president. He's a fuck-up, and he's doing a lot of things wrong. However, what they're trying to do is see how many people they can peel away from him to try to impeach this guy. Because even though he's a fuck-up, even though he's not doing anything great from our perspective, he is still a threat to them. And he's a threat to them for a few reasons. Number one, he doesn't play their game. He doesn't play their politically correct game. He doesn't mind his P's and Q's. And he's not careful about giving away shit. This is a guy who cares far more about his own ego and his own greatness than he does about any of these other people around him. And he's got this tendency to fucking punish anybody who crosses him. And they don't like this guy. And they want him out. And what Trump's trying to do is maintain that angry base behind him. And so he's got to do everything he can to do that, and the media, they've got to do everything they can to turn people against Trump. But let me tell you, that's what it's all about, because all this fucking, they have no real evidence. They have no real evidence of anything. And again, it's like, dude, if you wanted to prosecute a president in any way, I mean, they all break the law so much. They have such, I mean, look, George Bush instituted torture. You know how fucking illegal that is? Not only is it unconstitutional, it's against the Geneva Convention. It's against international law, okay? Barack Obama had a fucking drone campaign where he's droning the fuck out of sovereign countries. He's drone bombing Pakistan. Barack Obama murdered American citizens without charges pressed against them, okay? I mean, you don't need to be a fucking constitutional scholar to know that you can't do that. One glance at the Bill of Rights and you know this is completely illegal. But it doesn't matter. He wasn't a threat to them. So they weren't trying to impeach that guy. But Trump is a threat to them. And they want to impeach him. And this is the whole dynamic. You've got to poison the well, poison the well, poison the well. And then if you get public sentiment to where it needs to be, it doesn't matter, because there's no real legal standard for what's an impeachable offense. An impeachable offense is whatever Congress decides it is. So it's all about popular opinion, it's all about affecting the culture, and then they can try to bring this guy down. And look, I'm no fan of Trump. I'm really not, but I think that is a lot of what's going on here. It's that dynamic where they weirdly, in some weird way, you are governed by the people, even though it's not in the sense that they would say, like, this is a government of the people and for the people. Of course it's not. This is a government for special interests. But they better not have, as Trump said, they don't want riots in the streets. That's what they're scared of.
Thank you. We, the citizens of America, are now joined in a great national effort to rebuild our country and restore its promise for all of our people.
Oof. I'm embarrassed. You see why I deleted this video. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace out.